In 2005, my sister had boiling water poured all over her body by our mother. I was in the bathtub with my older sister whenever my youngest sister went into the kitchen to try to give our oldest sister a hug, but my oldest sister was making oatmeal and had boiling water. The boiling water accidentally splashed on my 4-year-old little sister because she kind of got under her feet and it got a little bit on her chest. Our mother saw this, and instead of immediately attending to the wounds on my little sister, she took the pot and she poured it all over our big sister's body, and then she took a little bit and poured it on herself. She then took my little sister, snatched me and my older sister out of the bathtub, and ran cold water on her wounds until EMS arrived. Where was my oldest sister during all this? Laying in the kitchen floor, suffering with her 3rd-degree burn wounds. And you might ask, how? How did she get away with this? I'll tell you. So pretty sure DHR questioned everybody, but our mother had already told everyone that CPS is bad. They want to take you away. They don't want what's good for you. They want mommy gone out of the picture. So we all lied to them. We didn't tell them the truth, or we refused to talk to them. Now, I did not witness this event myself, but I know for a fact that that's not what happened. We all remember exactly what happened. I remember hearing commotion. I remember what it sounded like while before and during the action was taking place, and then the after effects. I remember the arguments that pursued between neighbors because we lived in an apartment complex. I remember people accusing my mother of doing this because they've seen her and witnessed her beat us before, and they knew that she had something to do with it, but somehow she still got off with this crime. I remember walking into the hospital room to see my oldest sister, and all I could feel was bad. I felt guilt that, I wasn't there to grab my little sister out of the kitchen, because I knew what happened. We all knew what happened. We all knew our mother did this to her, yet we stayed silent. The story that got my mom off the hook, what actually happened from my recollection, what actually happened was my oldest sister was making oatmeal. My little sister got under her legs, which is correct, splashed hot water on her, except for my big sister, my oldest sister in this story. She dropped the pot and all 3 of them were in the kitchen, and it splashed up off the floor and it burned all 3 of them. But that is not the case. That is not what happened, and we all know the truth. We all know our mother deserved jail time for that. We all know that she should have lost custody of her kids after this happened, yet she did not. Yet we remained in her care. Now, my brother is still in this home. My brother is still being abused. Right now, I knew this would happen. I knew that he would be manipulated into turning against me. I knew that lies would be fed to him. I knew that he would be groomed, essentially, into hating me, and to lying to CPS, because that's what happened to us as children. We lied to CPS because we essentially were manipulated into doing so, or threatened into doing so. So if you see this, Bubba, I love you. I love you. I'm fighting for you. I'm not fighting for anyone else but you. I'm on your team. I'm fully on your team. I'm fully fighting for you, Bubba. And even if you don't see it now, you will see it one day. I promise you'll see it one day.
This is heartbreaking. It's unimaginable how deep the trauma runs when the very person who should protect you becomes the source of harm. No one should have to grow up in that kind of environment. I hope she finds safety and healing.
My 7-year-old son comes home and casually tells me, "Mama, 2 of my camp counselors are bullying me. I put him in a STEM camp. I'm paying a pretty penny to have him there for the week." And he comes home and he tells me that these 2 camp counselors, who are in their late teens, early 20s, are university students helping at this camp, are saying to him, "Oh, you're a Temu boy and your Jordans are fake, and oh, ha, look at your big gold chain." So my 7-year-old son, he's got a lot of swag, okay? He's very into fashion. What he wears, there's thought that goes into it. He picks his outfit out the night before. He wears a big, thick double chain. It's gold and gaudy, and he looks like he should be in a rap video. There's a tiger on it. He wears a gold bracelet. So he's a snazzy, flashy little boy. But I couldn't believe that these camp counselors are picking on my 7-year-old son, making fun of his style, pretending that what he's wearing is fake. So you bet Mama Bear came out. My head freaking spun 360 degrees. I walked in there and I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me? how old are these camp counselors? How old are you guys? Because I'm pretty sure my son is 7 years old. Why the hell are you commenting on what he looks like? Why are you concerned with what he is wearing? Do your freaking job. Make sure my kid is having fun, and don't ever, ever, ever comment on what he's wearing. I was so freaking pissed because if you mess with my kid, you are messing with me. I couldn't believe that I even had to have this conversation. Like, how are adults picking on a child? I scared the hell out of them. They said sorry profusely. And now my son is as happy as a clam. Moral of the story, he ain't changing his style. He's not changing who he is. But those camp counselors will think twice before they comment on any other child, because a mom like me will come after them.
Good for you, Mama Bear. Kids should be free to express themselves without adults bringing them down. You definitely set those counselors straight. Hopefully, they learned a valuable lesson. Let your sun keep shining.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think that word means what you think it means.
Pasteurize?
Yeah.
When you're pasteurizing me, it just like...
Baby, I'm not pasteurizing you.
You are pasteurizing me.
I don't think I can pasteurize you.
Yes, you can. So you just kind of
I
like
don't
brush
think that
me
would
off.
go over well.
Like the way that you like pasteurize me is you like push kind of
Maybe
like when someone when a cow like is worthless, you just put them out to pasture.
Oh, I thought you were there. I thought you were going to say something about what pasteurizing meant. So, no.
You put them out to pasture, like you just like brush them off and you pasteurize them. And then, so when I say like don't pasteurize me, then like...
You don't
like,
want
don't,
me to
like,
put you out to pasture?
Yes.
None of that is accurate, baby.
Yes, it
Not,
is.
None of that.
We're literally like never on the same page. Like you're not on the same page with me.
Hey, we're
like,
not even in the same book. You're positive you learned the word pasteurize in that form?
Yes.
Are
You're
you sure it
pasteurizing.
wasn't patronize?
That doesn't make any fucking sense. Why would it be patronize?
Because it is. Because it is patronize.
In what context? Like, how does that make sense? I don't know. It's don't pasteurize me. That's the saying is don't pasteurize me.
Baby,
like, don't put me out to
pasteurize
pasture.
is what they
Have
do.
you ever heard the term put you out to pasture? Did you ever hear that term? That's where it derives from, is put you out to pasture. So stop pasteurizing me. Do you understand me?
I don't.
You don't. Like you don't understand, babe.
All right, baby. I love you. I won't
You're
pasteurize.
this is pasteurizing me right now. Okay, I love you. And then you like
Pretty sure if
brush
I
me off like I'm
pasteurize
stupid.
you, it would be illegal. I don't think I could pasteurize you. So
You do it
We'll
every
just-
day. You literally do it every day.
we'll put a pin in it and we'll circle back to it at some point. So you're right, baby. Love you.
That's pasteurizing.
Okay.
Well, that's one way to misunderstand a word. Looks like someone mixed that pasteurize with patronize and threw in put out to pasture for good measure. At least the conversation was entertaining.
Where does it say that this is a mandatory meeting?
In conversations that I've been having with Jonathan.
Oh, well, I did not know that, obviously.
It says in-person FY26 strategic planning meeting from Jonathan.
Okay.
I don't know how much more like, oh, Jonathan wants us to be on site, that, yeah, you should probably be on site. So if the meeting comes out in February, people should mark their calendars and say that's an in-person meeting. But
Okay.
if your request on March 6th, you see what I'm saying? It's kind of like, Jonathan wants me to be at this meeting, but I'm going to go on vacation anyway.
Okay, but I already had something scheduled, so I wouldn't have known that there was going to be a meeting invite that was going to come out. I saw the meeting invite and I was like, oh shoot, I better make sure I sent all my stuff out, because that is one of the conflicts, and I'm sure there could be more down the road, and I want to make sure that, you know, my leave requests are out there ahead of time, because obviously this one was not.
Right, so the leave request was after Jonathan called the meeting.
Right.
Because I think we sent this out in February, so it was already on your calendar, right? It was already on your calendar before you put the leave request in, is what I'm saying. It wasn't that I already have the leave request, and then Jonathan called the meeting.
I thought you were saying the other way around.
Yeah, no.
Does it? Okay, well, I cannot make it that day, so I'm not going to be able to cancel what I need to do.
Okay, that's fine. Does the same go for
other people that don't live in the state going to be attending this meeting and also know that it's a requirement?
Everybody that I've talked to that has been invited is attending.
And does this include Sherry?
The in-person managers meeting, yeah.
Does she have a plane ticket already?
I haven't asked her if she has a plane ticket already. I don't know if she's going to be needing to fly that day. Not sure if she's going to be here, though.
Okay. I'm just wondering, like, I feel like, why are you asking me all these questions? Other people may not be able to show up as well.
What if I confirm that everyone...
And I think
you might be the only one, I think, that's not going to be here that day. So I just want to be able to explain to Jonathan. That's it.
Sounds like someone wasn't thrilled about a mandatory meeting that wasn't clearly communicated as such. This conversation is a classic case of conflicting schedules and unclear expectations. Definitely could have used a little more clarity up front.
You are probably right. I'm going to tell you another story, and it is not deja vu, it is not deja rêve, it is a secret third thing, and I would love to know if anyone has ever experienced anything like what I'm about to say. So this happened in November, end of November in 2021. I was living with my ex at the time, and we were making dinner. I'm standing at the island in the kitchen, and she has her back turned to me. She's facing the toaster, and I remember this specifically because she was toasting bread to go with her spaghetti, and I was having a thought process of, I just had never heard of anyone toasting bread to go with their spaghetti. I'm sure that's a thing. Like, I've heard of garlic bread and spaghetti, but I just hadn't thought of like toast with spaghetti. So I was thinking about that. Again, her back is facing me. She starts talking. All of a sudden, in the middle of her sentence, my ears start ringing like crazy. Disclaimer, this is when I start to sound absolutely insane. Okay, you don't have to tell me, I know. I feel a sensation I have never felt before, which is the feeling of being above my body and slamming back into it, as if I was just somewhere else and I have just arrived in my body. And in the same way, you know when you wake up from a dream and like you're clinging to the details of the dream and it just starts to slip through your fingers the moment you wake up? Like that, I was starting to forget where I just was. But I was repeating a few things over and over again in my head from where I just was. And those two things were, why am I here again? I've already done all this and I have to do it right this time. Again, why am I back here? I've already done all this and I have to do it right this time. Over and over, that was all I retained from it, but it was a physical sensation of dropping into my body, like almost like I respawned in a video game. I had this distinct feeling that I was older. I don't know how to say that without sounding insane, but the first few moments of me being back in my body were spent looking around in disbelief and wonder that I was back here again, which terrified me. And simultaneously, almost as if it was like a visual, and I know this sounds fucking crazy, almost visually, I can see in front of me the paths from that exact moment. On one of the two, like, paths, if you will, is me responding normally to what my ex was saying. Like, she was saying something about her pasta bread and I responded normally to that. And then on the other side was the one that I felt like I was on, was the one where instead of responding to the bread comment, I said, hold up, I just had the most insane deja vu of my life. But before I felt the path fork sort of situation, for a split second, it felt as if, and I know this sounds insane, but it's important, it felt like I was holding two memories of the same moment, and then they changed, and then that path went that way, and I went this way, and I could no longer see that, and then it all faded. It was all over in like 10 seconds. But this is where it gets insane. I say, hold up, I just had the most insane deja vu of my entire life. I feel like I just slammed back into my body. That's all I said. I'm expecting her to just be like, wow, that's crazy, because that's what everyone always does. Instead, she turns around and looks at me with absolute horror in her face and says, wait, that happened to me today too. She said, I was standing in the aisle hanging things at work and I felt like I slammed back into my body. And she said, I didn't even say it out loud. She said, I felt like I was holding two memories of the same moment and then it split. And we just stood there staring at each other in absolute disbelief. And I never was the same after that. Ever. It changed my entire perception of time. Like, it broke my brain. I actually for a while was afraid that I had experienced some sort of psychosis or something, so I would talk to my therapist about it, and she was like, this does not sound like psychosis to me, but it bothers me to this day, because there was a distinct feeling that I felt in that moment that did not feel like deja vu or deja rêve. It was distinct, and it's never happened before, and it's never happened since, and it fucked me up because those are the only two things I remember. Like, why was my thought, I have to do it right this time? Do what? Do what right this time? That's a lot of pressure. What happened last time? Did I die and then respawn for real? Anyway, my whole life changed after that. And for the record, I'm pleased with my life now. Like, we're good. Everything's great. Has anything like this ever happened to any of you? I don't have words for it. And since we're on the topic, I felt like it might be a good time to bring it up because I've been searching for answers. Also, fun fact, me telling that story was actually the first video I ever recorded on this TikTok account. It's still sitting in my drafts. I obviously never posted it, but I recorded that video like right after it happened because it was so insane that I was like, I feel like I should share this with the internet, but then I was scared of the internet back then. So I didn't, but now I'm telling it. And does anyone know what it was? Thank you so much.
Well, that's a wild experience. It sounds like a moment where time, memory, and reality collided, almost like a glitch in the Matrix. The shared experience with your ex only makes it more eerie, like you both momentarily stepped out of time. If anyone else has felt something similar, it'd be fascinating to hear their stories. It's definitely beyond just regular deja vu.